What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I was asked to, well, I was given an advanced screening of a film called Time Travel is Dangerous. It's from Level 33, so it doesn't have audio description, um, but I'm sure that this is like a film that originated in the UK. I don't know what it's like over there. If they're, I even kind of mentioned, I was like, does this have UK audio description? Because I don't think Level 33 does like global distribution, but it's an entirely British cast. And perhaps if this takes off over there, maybe it would have it. And so who knows? Brits, I might be reviewing a film for you to check out that you have audio description for it that was released in a different pattern than what we got over here. Over here, this film is like kind of limping into theaters in the middle of like award season with all these big movies around it, which is kind of sad because this movie isn't bad. This movie is pretty good. It has a lot of potential to it. Um, I kind of wish that this movie had been spotted by someone like a Taika Waititi, who could come along and just give it the right edit. I don't need reshoots. Um, I would say not even quite to the level of what Chris Stuckman got with Shelby Oaks, but just a little bit of, okay, so you're doing what I'm doing. Let me help you. Let me help you find the right rhythm and beats, because Time Travel is Dangerous is kind of in that What We Do in the Shadows mockumentary style, where we're talking to a couple of ladies who run this secondhand shop, vintage shop in somewhere in England. And I don't know. I've been there. I don't know the differences. I'm sure when you guys watch movies about America, you're like, I don't know, it was somewhere in Kansas. I don't know. Isn't everything in Kansas? I don't know. So, yeah, they have a time travel machine. There isn't a whole lot of deep thought behind this. And they don't have time to really explain how, why, when, the mechanics of it all. We've seen this before where it's just the gag of it is, let's get you this thing, right? Let's get you to the time travel machine. I love the people. I've seen some people online who are like, they didn't explain it well enough. We didn't understand the rules. Like, how did they get this? Where did this thing come from? I'm like, I think they tried to explain it. They explain it about as well as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure does, and I don't think a whole lot of people have been dragging that movie for years, is to be like, wait, so how does this happen? I don't understand. So, you know, the movies don't have to make like perfect sense when they're this silly. Like, this movie is not to be taken at the utmost of seriousness. It's supposed to be taken at the utmost of nonsensicalness. It's got a bunch of British comedians I recognize, like Johnny Vegas and Jane Horrocks, and a couple of other people in it that are floating through the cast. It's a little ensemble as they hop around through history, and so that they can reclaim things and bring them to their shop. There's a little bit of that, like, be careful, butterfly effect type stuff that starts to come into play here, that changes everything. And they keep cutting away to there's some instructional video type guy who's talking about, like, could there ever be such a thing as time travel? And he's like, we're time traveling now. We're moving forward in the future. um, but I think he has like a little robot, and there's like another science lady that's in there. It's hard for me to like fully quantify because there was no audio description. But I had fun with this. I did, even with the lack of audio description and the sort of sci-fi quality to it. In the pass fail, thumbs up, thumbs down, fresh, rotten, world we live in, where everything is binary. It's either yes or no. There is no maybe. There's no gray area. There's nothing. I can either say rotten and be like, fuck you, and then walk away. And be like, damn you and your lack of audio description, and pretend like I didn't have any fun with this movie. Or I can admit that I had fun with this movie and I would have had more fun if it had had audio description. But it's goofy. It's not so intelligent and so in itself that I wasn't able to follow it. This isn't like Primer. This isn't one of those movies where it's like I don't get it. What? You know. So I think the general audiences would be able to understand this. I just wish it was. I know the distributors don't give me stuff for me to like drag them, and they'd be like, "Come on, level 33." But I when I see stuff coming from like level 33 and Quiver and so, I just kind of go, "Oh man, this is a VOD release." I mean, maybe it's getting a couple theaters, maybe. You know, because now in this day and age, it's a lot easier for distributors like level 33 and Quiver and some of those people to get screens, because there are theaters out there that have like 30 of them, and they're currently running like re-releases of old movies and international films that people aren't even really sure what they are, because they're not even really contending for Oscars. They're just hoping that people show up for them because they're international. Like I've seen even some theaters here, and I don't live in New York or LA, and I look at some of the films that they're showing, and I'm like, what are these movies? That theaters I used to work at, I'm like, we never would have shown these 20 years ago. Never would have shown these movies 20 years ago when I worked there. So, because we would have had too much product filling up our screens, but now the product isn't there. So is it easier to get in? Probably, you know. I think if you're gonna end up checking this out, though, it's probably likely going to be on video on demand. And then it's like, okay, so I have a predominantly blind and low visual audience. Do I say you should rent this without audio description? No. Do I think this will probably end up somewhere like a Tubi Prime Video type thing? Sure. Yeah. So I mean, if it's a free on Tubi, you know, and you've got time to spare. I enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it more though with accessibility. So surprisingly, this is now the second film from level 33 where I've been like, oh, you guys do have some good movies in there. That's great. Like some movies that I actually liked, and some movies that I would have liked better if they were accessible to me. Like that's the thing about these, is that it can only really go up. Like I really can only think of one film where I saw it first without audio description and then was given audio description, and then that actually decreased my score. Out of like hundreds, thousands of films, I can only think of one where I was given more context and I was like, oh, never mind. Never mind. So, yeah, so where do I start with this? It is science fiction, so it makes it a little bit tricky to sort of navigate, which is, you know, some characters come in and out, and I'm not really sure who they are and where we are in time and stuff like that. So there's some mechanics here that kind of prevent me from fully enjoying the movie, but there are little gags and jokes along the way that I loved, that I picked up on, about like de-aging. I thought that was funny. That was a cute gag when they, what price is this? I don't care. But you run the store. You know, I mean, like some of them are just so silly that it feels like the right people understood the assignment. I just, you know, probably could have been tweaked. I wish this had a wider sort of attention to it, because I think more people would enjoy this, and it's just going to get kind of introduced in the middle of a very busy season, and when critics are being thrown like 1,000 screeners for your consideration, and this little thing is like, hello, Would you watch me, please? So I'm going to give it a 6.9 out of 10. I think that score would go up if it was accessible, but as is, yeah, limped across the minimum threshold. I give everything 6 or above, like a passing grade, fresh. I think about it more like in terms of if you saw this score, like on Rotten Tomatoes, everything is 60% and above is fresh, or if you saw it on IMDb, I don't think the majority of people on IMDb start getting worried about watching a film until it drops below 6. 6 is generally kind of like 6 to 7 is sort of like pretty average for IMDb. And then you get into the 7 and up, which is kind of like Rotten Tomatoes, where they start certifying things fresh. So they're kind of the same score, and that's what I'm trying to mirror here. So I'm saying this is 69, so it's borderline. Like it could be there if it had audio description. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side. Now I have to awkwardly turn off my camera because my remote broke.